Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on X Twitter at Movies TV Mad and on Instagram and on Threads at Movies TV Mad X. A very warm welcome to Saturday's edition of the DCU Daily. I'm very excited about this Superman movie. I think the trailer showed us the film, at the very least, has great potential. I'm very excited for this Supergirl movie. Sergeant Rock. I mean, if you're not excited about a DC movie starring Daniel Craig and the director of Queer, I don't know what I can do for you. A Clayface movie, a great idea. And a very special, groundbreaking animated movie coming as well. And there's more to come. But the one project that I'm really concerned about is this Max original, Lanterns, this grounded take. And we have got confirmation that Sinestro will be on this project, and already I've forgotten the guy's name, so I've got to look at my bit of paper, excuse me. Yeah, Ulrich Thomason is playing Sinestro. I really like the Sinestro in the Green Lantern movie, played by Mark Strong, and the thing is, with Ulrich Thomason, he's 60 years old. So basically, we're getting an old man Sinestro, which means we're missing out on all the peak Sinestro that would have been happening in this universe. And it looks like, he's going to be on Earth as well. Everything is set on Earth. I don't know if we're going to get anything on OR, which is the planet of the Lanterns, if you know anything about the Green Lantern Corps. So it's a very grounded story set on Earth, and there's some big mystery going on, which is going to be part of the DCU mystery. Now, it's interesting. 1 minute James Gunn says there's an arc, there's a mystery which begins in Lanterns, but also he said there's not going to be a story that continues through the movies and streaming shows. He is a very unreliable narrator, isn't he, James Gunn? Sometimes he just doesn't make sense. Now, my concern about this actor being 60 years old, I'm not being ageist, there's nothing wrong with 60-year-old actors playing roles, because it's interesting, because we kind of are getting an older Batman, an older Hal Jordan in Lanterns as well. So obviously I'm going to assume that this older version of Hal Jordan and this older 60-year-old version of Sinestro have a bit of a history that could be interesting, I suppose. But yeah, I have got a lot of concerns about Lanterns. I think when you look at the other projects, they have a lot of potential. But this one has me very, very concerned, and we'll see where they're going with this, yes. But Ulrich Thomason has been cast as Sinestro, and we'll see what they do with it. But yeah, I'm not happy. And also, if you look at all the trades and all the DC accounts, they're posting a younger picture of Ulrich Thomason as well. So they're trying to make you think this is a younger guy playing Sinestro. Now, he was in the TV show Banshees, if you're a fan. I never watched it myself. I don't know what kind of actor this is. I'm sure he's a very good, capable actor. I don't think his acting credentials are the issue here. But his age, for me, is certainly a very, very huge issue. Because it's like this 40-something Batman that it looks like we're going to get in the DCU. This is the same issues I had with Batfleck. I love Batfleck. I love Ben Affleck as Batman and Bruce Wayne. He may be my favourite Bruce Wayne and Batman. But we missed out on his peak younger adventures. We never saw Dick Grayson getting murdered by the Joker. In the comics, it's Jason Todd. In the DCEU, it's Dick Grayson. Zack Snyder did actually confirm that. And at the very least, Zack, in BVS, we should have seen a flashback to Dick Grayson, getting his guts handed to him by the Joker. We should have seen Jared Leto kicking 10 levels of crap out of Dick Grayson. But when you are having a kind of older version of these characters, you miss out on these peak stories that they've had. So, yeah, an older 60-year-old Sinestro for me isn't exactly what I want to see. But of course, the proof of the pudding is always in the eating, and we'll have to wait and see how it all works out. But the one project I am concerned about, announced by the DCU, and that will go into production very, very soon, is Lanterns. Again, I don't expect to have access to Max by that stage. I still don't have access to Max. I still haven't seen Creature Commandos. How the hell I'm ever going to get to see it, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. If I do see it, we can talk about it, because then I'll have details of the show. I know very little about that show. I've seen the clips on social media, like some of you had as well. And apparently the people who saw it enjoyed it. It's typical James Gunn. It works for what he wanted to do. It was never going to be the most successful thing in the world. It's only Creature Commandos. It's only an animated series. It's a solid start, I suppose, for the DCU. But yeah, I do have concerns about Lanterns. I do have concerns, that Damon Lindelof, the guy who co-created Lost, is involved. He did the Watchmen show. Now, I think he did great work on Lost. I really do. But I did not like that propaganda, extremist Watchmen story that they did. Yes, and Zack Snyder's movie was a much better adaptation, if you ask me. But yeah, so that's my one concern, really, Lanterns. I think the other projects, I don't think you could criticise the other projects that are going to go into production. I'm excited. I think, if you base your opinions on James Gunn's Superman on the trailer, at the very least, as I say, it has potential. But what's coming out about Lanterns is somewhat concerning to me. And the number one issue for me is that it's grounded and it's Earth-based. And we'll see how that works out. It's an HBO show, so that's only a good thing. Paradise Lost, I think, will be an HBO show as well. HBO have got a great record at making drama. They were behind Penguin with Matt Reeves and his production company. It was a good, solid show. I do have a lot of issues with Penguin, by the way. It's still very current day. It still has that messaging, but it was good. It worked. You can't say it's a bad show, but I don't think it's as good as some people are saying and believe and think it is. But in modern day terms, it's better than most of the crap we're seeing today. But Lanterns, yeah, at this moment in time for me, has many, many issues. And yeah, I don't want a 60-year-old Sinestro. I think that's wrong. And as I say, if you're going to have a man of that age, because I'm sure Mark Strong's kind of, if he's not approaching that age, he's around that age, he's slightly older or younger. So Mark Strong was a brilliant Sinestro. Whether you like the Green Lantern movie or not, Mark Sinestro was one of the best things, if not the best thing, about that movie. He was outstanding as Sinestro. He looked like Sinestro. And yeah, I think Green Lantern fans are very concerned and very unhappy. The ones that speak to me about Lanterns, it's not what they wanted. We all wanted an epic, awesome, cosmic Green Lantern movie. But maybe money is the issue, because, doing something like that would cost a lot of money. And one of the reasons it's a TV show, it's a streaming show, is because they believe that people don't want to see a movie. They believe that's the reason the movie flopped. Hollywood these studios always take the wrong messages by their failures. And that's the problem. Of course, people want to see an epic, awesome, cosmic, Green Lantern movie adventure. Of course they do. We all want to see that. So it's all utterly disappointing that that's not what we're getting. And I'm not sure that a streaming show is what Green Lantern needed. I just don't think that's the direction we should have gone in. I think it's wrong. But here's the problem. It's not James Gunn's fault that we have to have streaming as well as cinematic movies. They have a streaming platform. They have to keep it going. So you have to, that's the problem. When you've got a franchise these days, you've also got to have streaming shows. That's the problem. You have to have the streaming shows. Look at what they're doing to Harry Potter, rebooting it, which is such a dumb idea, and shoving it on Max. Even if you're going to reboot it, which I think it's such a poor show to basically say, right, we're bringing in new actors. But I think that's J.K. Rowling getting a bit of revenge on the actors who haven't backed her on her trans views. And I don't want to get into her trans views, whether I agree or disagree. I agree with a lot of what she's saying about it, but the point being that she's getting some good old-fashioned revenge, basically saying, well, you're not on my team. I'm going to get rid of you, and we're going to recast this and reboot this. I think she had a lot to do. Jo Rowling, in terms of adapting Harry Potter, the original movies, she got a big say, and she wrote the Fantastic Beasts movies, which I really like. And, they weren't that successful, but I really enjoyed those. But yeah, that was a bad idea. But this is the problem with streaming. Streaming is poison. And I don't like the idea of streaming shows. I think that Creature Commandos could have been an epic animated DCU movie. It could have been, imagine that being released in cinemas. Instead, maybe if we didn't have streaming, it would have just been an old-fashioned kind of, televised animated show on Cartoon Network. I don't know. But yes, I have a lot of issues with lanterns, and, hardcore Green Lantern fans have also got a lot of issues with lanterns. And, I'm not going to write it off because I haven't seen it yet. I mean, that's something I don't like about fandom today, writing things off before they see it. But certainly a 60-year-old Sinestro does pose problems, and I don't really understand why they're going this way. I don't. I really don't understand. I think the casting in the series is pretty solid. It's clear they're going down this true detective route, but is that what's needed here? I mean, look, I'm always moaning about them not being original. It seems like at the very least they're giving, Green Lanterns, the original treatment, and we'll see what they do. But for example, the people making this show, they weren't recruited by James Gunn. These are people who have worked for WB and HBO before. So that's interesting. So he's not, I think when it comes to the Max stuff, Creature Commandos was absolutely his baby, but I think the live action stuff, maybe he's not going to have the full say on what goes on. But he's certainly making some very interesting moves in the DCU. Personally, I like most of Gunn's moves. I like the casting. I like the announcements. I like the fact we're getting a Superman movie. I like the fact we're getting a Sergeant Rock movie. It's good to have unknown characters have their movies as well. And as I said, how can you not be excited about Daniel Craig and the director of Queer making a Sergeant Rock movie? Has that even been officially announced yet? Is he just rumouring innuendos? It looks like it's actually happening. But Gunn sometimes just does take his time to confirm these stories. I think, look, it looks like it's happening. And as I say, it is exciting to have Daniel Craig and the director of Queer involved in something like that. I know very little. In fact, I know nearly nothing. And if I'm right, I think, Sergeant Rock was in Creature Commandos, was he? Or something to do with that world was involved. So there were some hints about that as well. So that's exciting. I think all the other projects are exciting and have bags full of potential. Of course, Superman has to be successful. And as I said yesterday, I think they will spin it if Superman makes about the same money as Man of Steel. They'll be kind of happy about that. I don't know how much this Superman movie cost. So it will be interesting to find out when we finally get a budget for it. But yeah, I have issues with lanterns. I have a lot of issues. And it seems like a little bit of a problematic production, but it could end up being the best thing we've ever seen. But who knows? It's definitely going to be very, very original. But again, we're not all going to have access to it. And this is the problem with streaming. This is why I don't like it. Netflix is seen all over the world. I have access to Netflix in Cyprus. It's the only streaming service I can legally watch in Cyprus. There's so many problems. It's not really their fault. It's the legal copyright stuff. That's the problem. But You shouldn't be having these original shows if all DC fans and, a more wide range audience can't see this stuff.